there, I'm Shannon and welcome back to Do What Matters. Today we're talking about 5 life-changing lessons that can help you build a life you love. And these lessons have transformed my life and the lives of so many others, and I can't wait to share them with you. So let's dive right in. Lesson number 1. Most events in life are neutral. Let's start with one of the most liberating truths I've learned this year. Most events in life are neutral. But what does that mean? Well, it means that things that happen to us, either good or bad, don't have an inherent meaning or emotional charge. It's the story we attach to those events that determines how we feel and react. Imagine this: you're driving to work and someone cuts you off in traffic. What's your immediate reaction? If you're like most people, you might feel a flash of anger or frustration. Like, how dare they? They're so rude. But let's pause for a moment. The event itself, the car cutting you off in front of you, is neutral. The emotion you feel comes from the story attached to it. What if, instead of assuming the driver was careless or disrespectful, you told yourself a different story? Maybe they're rushing to the hospital to see a loved one, or they're late for an important job interview that could change their life. Notice how this simple shift in perspective changes how you feel about the same event. The anger subsides, replaced by understanding or even compassion. Now, this idea doesn't just apply to small inconveniences like traffic. It shapes how we experience life's big moments too. Let's say you didn't get a promotion you were hoping for. And one story you might tell yourself is that I'm not good enough. My boss doesn't value me. This narrative can lead to feelings of inadequacy, frustration, or even resentment. But what if you reframed it? What if you thought, maybe this opportunity wasn't the right fit and something better is coming? Or this gives me a chance to focus on developing new skills. These interpretations shift your emotional response from defeat to hope and empowerment. So the stories we tell ourselves influence everything. They influence our mood, our decisions, and even our health. Negative narratives can create stress and anxiety, while positive ones can foster resilience and growth. And this is why learning to reframe our stories is such an important skill. There's even science to back this up. Psychologists call it cognitive reframing, and it's a technique that helps people view situations from a different perspective. Now, research shows that reframing can reduce stress, improve mental health, and can even enhance problem-solving skills. And it doesn't change the event, but it changes your relationship to it. I learned this lesson deeply when my grandfather passed away. It was a heartbreaking time, and my initial story was one of loss and regret. Regret that he never got to meet my son, who was born a few months after his passing. And I kept thinking about all the moments we missed, and that narrative weighed heavily on me. But over time, it began to reframe the story. And instead of focusing on what we didn't get to experience, I started cherishing the memories that we did have. I thought about how much he would have loved my son and how his strength and kindness continues to inspire me. And the shift didn't erase the pain, but it brought a sense of peace and gratitude into the experience. And it's reframing that continues to shape how I remember him today. Now, reframing doesn't mean ignoring reality or pretending everything's perfect. It's about choosing a perspective that serves you better. As Edith Eger, a Holocaust survivor and author, once said, "The greatest prison you will ever live in is the one you create inside your own mind." Now, that quote has stayed with me because it's so true. The way we frame our experiences can either keep us trapped or set us free. So how can you start reframing the events in your own life? Well, here's a simple exercise. So each evening, take 5 minutes to reflect on your day. Identify one moment where you felt triggered. Maybe it was an argument, a disappointment, or just a small frustration. And ask yourself, what story did I attach to this event? How did that story make me feel? And what's another story I could tell about this event that would serve me better? For example, let's go back to the traffic situation. If your initial story was that driver is so rude, try replacing it with maybe they're having a tough day. Notice how this small shift affects your emotions. For more complex situations like a conflict with a friend or a challenge at work, write down the story you've been telling yourself and then rewrite it with a new perspective. It might feel a bit awkward in the beginning, but the more you practice, the easier it gets. And then over time, you find that this habit of reframing becomes second nature. And you start to notice that events that used to stress you out or upset you no longer have that same hold over you. And instead, you feel more grounded and more in control, and as well more in peace. So this lesson is about reclaiming your power. Life will always throw challenges your way. That's literally inevitable. That's life. But you have the ability to choose how to interpret those challenges. And that choice can make all the difference. So as you go through your week, I challenge you to practice reframing. Like start small, a minor annoyance or a routine challenge, and then ask yourself, how can I tell a different story about this? With practice, you find that you're not just reacting to life, but you're actively changing it. So remember, you can't always control what happens to you, but you can control the story you tell about it. And that story has the power to shape your entire life. Lesson number 2. Willpower and motivation are finite. Let's talk about something that often trips us up when it comes to creating lasting change: willpower and motivation. Now, these two forces are often celebrated as the keys to success. But here's the truth that might surprise you. Both are finite resources. And if you're relying on them to sustain long-term change, you're actually setting yourself up to failure. Think about the last time you felt motivated to make a big change in your life. Maybe it was the start of a new year and you set ambitious goals. Working out every day, eating clean, journaling every morning. And for the first week or two, it felt exciting and doable. You might have even started to see some results. But what happened after that? If you're like most people, your motivation started to dip. And the early morning workouts became harder to stick to. The meal prepping felt like a chore, and before you knew it, you were back to your old habits. This isn't a personal failing. It's simply how motivation works. And research shows that motivation follows a predictable pattern, often called the motivation wave. It rises and it falls like a tide. And when the wave is high, everything feels possible. And you think, this is the year I'll finally stick to my goals. But when the wave inevitably recedes, the enthusiasm fades and the same tasks feel overwhelming. Willpower works much the same way. It's like a muscle. It gets fatigued the more you use it. And if you're constantly relying on willpower to resist temptation or push yourself to complete tasks, you'll eventually run out of steam. And this is why diets often fail, and why gym memberships go unused, and why personal goals are so often abandoned. So if willpower and motivation are unreliable, what's the alternative? And the answer lies in creating system. A system is a set of routines or behaviors that run almost on autopilot, removing the need for constant decision-making or burst of motivation. James Clear, the author of Atomic Habits, captures this perfectly. We do not rise to the level of our goals. We fall to the level of our systems. Think about that for a moment. It's not how motivated you are that determines your success. It's the structures you put in place to make success inevitable. Consider brushing your teeth. You don't wake up every morning and think, am I motivated to brush my teeth today? No, you just do it. It's part of your daily routine, built into your life so seamlessly that you don't even question it. It's a system. Now imagine applying that same logic to something like exercising, eating healthy, or building a morning routine. Instead of relying on fleeting motivation, you create a system that makes it easier to do the right thing than the wrong thing. Now, there are 2 key rules to building effective systems. Make it easy and anchor it to an existing habit. So the first rule, make it easy, is crucial. Most people make the mistakes of setting their sights too high, especially when they're feeling motivated. They decide to start working out for an hour every day or meditating for 20 minutes every morning. And while these goals are admirable, they're often unsustainable. And when motivation dips, these overly ambitious behaviors feel overwhelming and are the first to be dropped. And that's why it's so important to start small. For example, instead of committing to an hour-long workout, start with just 5 minutes. Making things easy doesn't mean you're not challenging yourself. It means you're removing unnecessary friction so that the behavior becomes automatic. And the second rule, anchor it to an existing habit, is equally powerful. This strategy, often called habit stacking, involves tying your new behavior to something you already do consistently. Every habit we have is triggered by something. A cue that tells our brain it's time to act. For example, brushing your teeth in the morning might be triggered by waking up. Drinking coffee might be triggered by sitting at your desk. To create a new habit, you can piggyback it onto an existing one. So think about your own daily routine. Are there habits you already do consistently? Maybe it's making tea, taking a shower, or putting your kids to bed. These moments can become anchors for new behaviors. For example, if you want to start journaling, do it right after brushing your teeth at night. If you want to meditate, try 2 minutes of mindfulness after finishing breakfast. Or if you want to stretch, do it right after you wake up. By linking your new habits to something you already do, you eliminate the need for willpower or motivation, and it becomes part of your routine. There's science behind why these strategies work. Habits are essentially shortcuts our brains create to save energy. And once a behavior becomes automatic, it requires very little mental effort, but for a habit to become automatic, it needs to be repeated consistently in the same context. That's why starting small and anchoring your habit to an existing one is so effective. It creates a stable foundation for your habit to take root. And over time, as the habit becomes more ingrained, you can build on it. What starts as a 5-minute workout can then grow into a 30-minute routine. What begins as a 2-minute meditation can expand into a longer practice. The key is starting small and building momentum. Let me leave you with a practical exercise to get started. Just choose one behavior. Pick one small change you want to make. Maybe it's drinking more water, exercising, or reading more. And then make sure to make it easy. So scale it down to something so simple that you just can't fail. For example, instead of committing to reading for an hour, aim just for 5 minutes every day. And then anchor it to an existing habit. So identify a habit you already do daily and link your new behavior to it. For example, drink a glass of water right after brushing your teeth in the morning. And as well, a really important step is to track your progress. Use a calendar or habit tracker to keep track of your consistency. Seeing your streak grow can be incredibly motivating. The big takeaway here is simple. Don't rely on motivation and willpower to create change. Instead, focus on building systems that make the right behaviors easy and automatic. Like motivation is like a wave. It comes and it goes. But a good system, that's like the shoreline, always there to catch you when the tide goes out. So start small, anchor your habits, and watch as the changes you've always wanted to make finally become part of your daily life. Lesson number 3. Health is the foundation of everything good. Let's talk about something that underpins every aspect of your life. Health. It's not just another priority on your to-do list. It's the foundation of everything good. When your health is thriving, you have the energy, focus, and resilience to pursue your goals, nurture relationships, and fully experience life. Without it, even the simplest task can feel overwhelming. Think about it. When you're sick or in pain, your entire world shrinks. You're not thinking about achieving goals or creating memories. You're focused on just getting through the day. On the other hand, when you feel strong, rested, and balanced, life opens up. You can take on challenges, savor joyful moments, and show up as your best self for the people who matter most. Yet health is often the thing we sacrifice when life gets busy. We trade sleep for late night work, skip meals in favor of convenience, and push through stress without giving ourselves time to recharge. But here's the truth. Neglecting your health isn't just a short-term problem. Over time, it can erode your ability to live the life you want. And that's why health isn't a luxury. It's a necessity. When we talk about health, it helps to break it down into 4 key pillars: food, movement, sleep, and relaxation. And these pillars are interconnected, and balance among them is essential. So let's explore each of them. Now, the food you eat isn't just fuel for your body. It's also a powerful tool for shaping your energy, focus, and mood. A diet rich in whole, minimally processed foods provides the nutrients your body needs to function at its best. When you eat well, you feel better. Your mind is sharper, your energy more stable, and your mood more balanced. But food isn't just about nutrition. It's also deeply tied to habits, emotions, and convenience. Many of us turn to food for comfort or out of stress, leading to choices that don't align with our long-term health. And this isn't about being perfect or following a restrictive diet. It's about finding small, sustainable ways to improve your eating habits. For example, you could start by adding 1 extra serving of vegetables to your meals each day or swapping sugary drinks for water. And these small changes done consistently build up over time and transform your relationship with food. The goal is to create habits that nourish your body and mind, not just in the moment, but for the long term. Now, the second movement is essential for both physical and mental well-being. It's not just about hitting the gym or running marathons. It's about finding ways to stay active that you enjoy and can stick to. Regular movement helps you maintain a healthy weight, improves your mood, boosts energy levels, and reduces the risk of chronic diseases. Movement doesn't have to be complicated or time-consuming. It can be as simple as a daily walk, a quick stretch in the morning, or even dancing to your favorite music. The key is to find an activity that feels good and fits naturally into your life. If you're not moving much right now, start small. Commit to just 10 minutes a day. Maybe it's a walk around the block or a few stretches before bed. And as you build the habit, you can gradually increase the time or intensity. And the most important thing is consistency. Movement done regularly becomes a cornerstone of your overall health. The next one is sleep. And sleep might be the most underrated pillar of health, yet it's one of the most critical. Poor sleep doesn't just leave you feeling groggy, it affects nearly every aspect of your life. When you're sleep deprived, your mood suffers, your focus diminishes, and your ability to make good decisions is compromised. Sleep also has a profound impact on your physical health. It regulates hormones, supports immune function, and even affects your metabolism. Without enough rest, your body struggles to repair itself, and your mind struggles to stay sharp. One of the biggest benefits of good sleep is its impact on willpower. When you're well rested, you're better equipped to resist temptation and make healthy choices. But when you're tired, you're more likely to crave sugary snacks, skip workouts, or feel irritable with those around you. So to improve your sleep, start by creating a bedtime routine that helps you wind down. Turn off screens at least an hour before bed. Keep your bedroom cool and dark, and aim for consistency in your sleep schedule. Even small changes like going to bed 15 minutes earlier can make a significant difference over time. Now, the final pillar is relaxation, which is about managing stress and finding ways to recharge. Chronic stress is one of the most harmful things for your health and contributing to issues like high blood pressure, anxiety, and even burnout. Yet, in today's busy world, relaxation is often viewed as a luxury rather than a necessity. But relaxation doesn't mean doing nothing. It means intentionally engaging in activities that help you reset and restore balance. And this could be meditation, deep breathing, spending time in nature, or pursuing a hobby you love. It's about creating moments of calm in your day, even if you're just 5 or 10 minutes long. So ask yourself, how often do I truly relax? If the answer is rarely, it's time to make relaxation a priority. And again, start with something simple. Maybe it's a daily walk without distractions, or a few minutes of deep breathing before bed. And then again, as well, over time, these small moments add up, helping you feel more balanced and less reactive to life's challenges. So the key to long-term health is balance across all 4 pillars. And you don't need to be perfect in any one area, but you do need to avoid neglecting one entirely. Like, your health is only as strong as its weakest pillar. If one area is out of balance, whether it's poor sleep, a lack of movement, or chronic stress, it can drag down the others. Now, many of us focus on our favorite pillar and neglect the rest. For example, someone might have an excellent diet but only sleep 5 hours a day. Another person might work out daily but live in a constant state of stress. The truth is, to thrive, you need all 4 pillars working together. And improving your health doesn't have to be overwhelming. Start with small, actionable steps. First, identify your weakest pillar. Out of food, movement, sleep, and relaxation, which area needs the most work? And then make one small change. Focus on one habit that's simple and manageable. If it's sleep, try going to bed 15 minutes earlier. If it's movement, commit to a 10-minute walk each day. And then build consistency. Repeat your new habit daily until it becomes automatic. Because consistency is more important than intensity. And then lastly, reassess regularly. Check in with yourself every few weeks? Are you seeing improvements, and what could you adjust? Ultimately, health is about more than just feeling good physically. It's about having the energy and resilience to live a life you love. It's about being present for your family, pursuing your passions, and showing up as the best version of yourself. Like, as we get older, health becomes even more important. The things that we could do or get away with in our 20s, like poor sleep or skipping exercise, start catching up with us in our 30s and 40s and even beyond. So prioritizing health now is one of the best investments you can make for your future. In short, health is the foundation of everything good in life. It's not a luxury, it's a necessity. And the best part? You have the power to take control one step at a time. Lesson number 4. No advice works for everyone. This lesson is a big one because it can free you from the frustration of feeling like a failure when a particular piece of advice doesn't work for you. It's this: no single piece of advice works for everyone. Let's start with health. Take diet, for example. The debate between plant-based, low-carb, paleo, or keto diets can feel very overwhelming. And you might hear convincing arguments and research for all of them. But the truth, all these diets can work for certain people under specific circumstances, but none of them is universally the best. And here's why. We're all unique. Our genetics, our lifestyles, our cultural backgrounds, and even our personal preferences play a huge role in determining what works for us. For example, I've seen people thrive on low-carb diets, experiencing more energy and better focus. But I've also seen others feel sluggish and unhappy on the same plan. So the key isn't to find the perfect plan. It's to find what works for you. And the only way to do that is through experimentation. Like, imagine this. You're intrigued by a plant-based diet. Instead of committing for life, try it for 4 weeks. Pay attention to how your body responds, your energy levels, digestion, mood, and sleep, and then maybe switch to a low-carb diet for the next 4 weeks and observe the same things. Now, the same principle applies to other areas of life, such as productivity strategies. Some people swear by early mornings, like myself, while others thrive at night. And you've probably heard of the 5 a.m. club, a great concept for some, but it's not a universal rule. And if you're more productive at 10 p.m., why force yourself into a schedule that doesn't align with your natural rhythm? So the most important part of this lesson is learning to trust yourself. We live in a world where expert advice is everywhere, but that doesn't mean you should blindly follow it. Instead, filter it through your own experiences. Start small, experiment with one change at a time. If you're testing a new productivity method, for instance, ask yourself questions like, did I feel more energized? Did I feel more focused? Did I accomplish more? How did I feel at the end of the day? And over time, you'll develop a stronger sense of what works for you. And here's the best part. This process isn't just about finding the right strategies. It's about building confidence in your ability to navigate life on your own terms. Remember, the most important question isn't which expert should I trust? It's how can I trust myself more? You are the best expert on your own life. And the more you trust your instincts, the more empowered you feel to make meaningful changes. Lesson number 5, love and fear cannot coexist. Let's move to one of the most profound lessons. Love and fear cannot coexist. I want you to think about the energy behind your actions. Are you trying to make changes in your life because you genuinely care for yourself and want to grow? Or are you driven by guilt, shame, or fear of not being enough? When we act out of fear, our behaviors rarely stick. For example, if you decide to start exercising because you're ashamed of how you look, that energy can feel heavy and it's hard to sustain. But if you approach exercise from a place of love because you want to feel stronger, healthier, or more alive, it becomes a joyful and lasting part of your life. Let's look at gratitude as a way to cultivate love. Gratitude rewires your brain to see the positive, even in challenging situations. Research shows that practicing gratitude regularly can lower anxiety, reduce depression, and even improve physical health. And here's a simple morning exercise you can do. So every day, ask yourself, what's one thing I deeply appreciate about my life? It could be your health, a loving relationship, or even a small moment of joy like enjoying a hot cup of coffee in the morning. And then write it down if you can. Now let's take it further. In the evening, reflect on your day and ask, what are the 3 things that went well today? What am I grateful for? If 3 feels overwhelming, start with 1. The act of writing these things down forces you to pause, reflect, and appreciate the good in your life. And over time, this simple practice shifts your focus towards love and abundance. Let's also explore how love and fear play out in relationships. Think about a time when you felt disconnected from someone close to you. Often these moments are driven by fear of being judged, fear of not being understood. But what if you shifted that energy toward love? Instead of focusing on your own fears, ask yourself, how can I show compassion in this moment? A small act of kindness or a thoughtful gesture can transform the dynamic of a relationship. And finally, remember that love and fear show up in how we talk to ourselves. Pay attention to your inner dialogue. Is it critical and harsh, or supportive and kind? You might catch yourself thinking, I'll never succeed, or I'm not good enough. These thoughts are rooted in fear. When you notice them, pause and reframe. Instead of, I'll never succeed, try, I'm learning and growing every day. And it might feel awkward at first, but over time you'll notice a shift in how you feel about yourself and your ability to create change. So here's a challenge. For the next 7 days, practice gratitude every morning and reframe one fear-based thought every day. And then notice how these small acts of love influence your mindset, your energy, and your actions. So there you have it, 5 life-changing lessons to help you build a life you love. So let's quickly recap. Number 1, most events in life are neutral. It's your perspective that matters. Number 2, willpower and motivation are finite. Rely on systems instead. Number 3, health is the foundation of everything good. Find balance across the 4 pillars. Number 4, no advice works for everyone. Trust yourself and experiment. And lastly, number 5, love and fear cannot coexist. Choose love through gratitude and compassion. Which lesson resonated with you the most? I'd love to hear your thoughts. Thank you for joining me today. And remember, you have the power to rewrite your story and build a life you love. See you next time on Do What Matters.